Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
At some point in time, I'm going to have a report segment where I might actually be able to show a photo of myself. Maybe. It's called fishing, everyone, not catching. Overall reports yesterday, it was all based on the conditions. Doesn't matter where you were. Rivers were bouncing, heavy rain, heavy wind. If you were anywhere near the mountain range, it was all snow. Bill, yesterday, when he left here, he headed back up north, back home, and he went through rain squalls and snowstorms all the way home. So it was certainly not the best conditions to be successful. Now, there were certainly folks that were out there. There was a little gig on one of our local rivers where there was quite a few people fishing. Not a lot caught, but there certainly was a handful of fish caught. In the Willamette itself, we'll show you what's going on there. Didn't get any reports from there other than somebody that was braving the cold, huddling in their truck with the heater on, plunking, that did have some success. So it just goes to show you that there's certainly going to be fish moving through the Willamette as we go through this week. You're going to see in just a little bit what that forecasted bounce is. Not the best conditions, but if you are going to go plunking, and it doesn't matter if it's on the Willamette or the Columbia, it's all about where those fish are going to really be traveling. Now, the Willamette's going to be on a significant bounce. They're going to be right there. Don't walk too close to the bank. I mean, honestly, old timer one time scared me and my buddies to death when he started barking at us when we were walking along the bank in mud water. He was absolutely correct. Those fish were right there, so pay attention, keep your gear tight. If you're going to be on the Columbia, it's not going to be nearly as off color, but it is forecasted to go up. Again, fish are going to be relatively close to the bank. If you're going to be on the Anchor, same thing. You're going to want to be close to the bank where those fish are going to be somewhat narrowed down to where your gear is. So just kind of keep all that in mind. If you're going to be out trolling, same scenario. You're going to want to be in slower water on the inside turns, wherever it might. Davis Bar is a perfect example of being on the inside. Now, we all know, or at least if you don't know, Davis Bar over the last couple of years, the companies out there, the barge company, I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. It's the red one. Anyway, they've put in a number of pilings right in the middle of our troll. I mean, they've literally just wiped out half of what we would target at Davis Bar. But on that side note, in higher conditions, being on the inside is a pretty good area to be in because you're going to have enough water to actually make that troll. So just kind of keep that in mind. Be where the fish are and follow your electronics. If you got good electronics, it'll help out significantly. But quickly, though, let's just take a look at fish counts. Not a lot going on here. But there are actually, on a couple of different websites around here, contests or whatever you want to call it, for when that first fish is going to cross the dam at Bonneville. Nothing as of yet has happened at the falls at Oregon City. I thought this was a little interesting, though. Not that I want to see a bunch of numbers of fish going over the falls, because quite honestly, I really don't. But they haven't updated, and a lot of times that means that they're counting. I don't foresee that being the case now. Maybe it's just early on in the season for them. But 2,700 steelhead are over. I need to look at the 10-year average on that one. I have not looked at that. But going to Bonneville, they didn't update for this morning or yesterday yet, but same thing. No fish over. Although what we don't show here is the jack count. There's actually 2 jacks that have been counted. At least they call them jacks that went over the dam. I don't know if that's concerning or not, but at the very least, nothing has crossed either the falls or the dam yet when you're talking about spring Chinook specifically. But when you're talking about the Willamette, which is going to be a thing going forward all the way through June, and for that matter, for a lot of folks, into July, the turbidity is always going to be a concern. River level is going to be a concern. And you can see now, as of this morning, you're looking at the 16th now, that turbidity is on its way out, and it's going to coincide with the bounce that you're going to see on the Willamette. It takes a couple of seconds for us to get that up. But once you see it, it is forecasted to go up pretty quickly. And as you all know, the Willamette, when it does blow out, typically takes 4 to 6 days, somewhere in there, to drop, turn over and become what we would call fishable, right? When the turbidity is in those 10 to 12 range is when you can really go, okay, that turbidity isn't too bad to be out there. But you can see that forecast. It's on its way out now. By Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to peak, supposedly. I will admit these forecasts for pretty much all the rivers have been suspect at best for the last 4 to 6 months. I don't know why that is, but at the very least, that's where it's expected to go. And then another interesting point. Typically, it's a big drop-off getting back down to where it was but they're forecasting for it to stay pretty high in the 15s towards the end of the week and either bounce back or just hold steady. That is interesting. That's not typically what you'll see on the Willamette. You'll see it just drop back down. Now, it could be rain forecast. It could maybe be a warm-up. Maybe Andy will have some insight on that. But that is interesting towards the end of the week. Columbia, it is bouncing right now. Nothing too dramatic. Nothing that I would say, don't go fish it because it's too much of a rise. No, it's really not that bad. As long as the clarity holds out, and I would expect that it would. Below the Willamette might be a little bit more off color, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But local rivers, they're all in the midst of a bounce right now. They look like they're going to turn over tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the time in tomorrow. It might just be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we'll find out. Coastal, a lot of folks are going to say that that's a lot of water, and it is. No question about it. But that little bounce right there for all those North Coast rivers is a good thing. And then once you start making your way down south, you'll see why the Willamette's popping so much. There's a lot more rain coming from the south and up the valley. And you can see that those rivers, Alsea, Siletz in particular, and all the rest are making some pretty interesting bounces. Nehalem was about to turn over. Anyway. Okay, get that off there. Get that off there. Okay, other than that, don't forget, Procure. They love to do giveaway spores here, and we thank them dearly for that, and Abby's as well. But send Jason at Procure an email at procure.com, Jason at procure.com. Remember, don't forget that little space, little gap there in the Procure. You do need to enter in each week in order to be eligible to win that prize pack. So, weather. It's been interesting, no doubt, right? Tons of snow that's been hitting the mountains the last 48 hours, 24 hours.
Yeah, just in the last 24 hours, Timberline got about 19, 20 inches of snow. Yeah, it's just been a whole lot of snow up there, which, eventually will melt and make its way down to our rivers. But rain is not nearly as heavy and steady around the metropolitan area this morning as what we had yesterday. We'll get to that in a moment, but I got to take you up to our ski bowl camera. A couple of different shots to show you. Right now, not as quite as busy. I can see the lifts moving a little bit, 30 degrees, the temperature that we have at the base, and there's some folks going up on the lift right now to do a little skiing. We had the first alert weather day. We have that going on up in the Cascades for today. We'll cover that in a moment. 24 at Timberline, 26 Meadows, 30 at Government Camp. Looks like the pass right there is improving quite a bit at Government Camp, as well as the junction of 35 and 26. They were completely snow covered yesterday, much like Santa Ana Pass is right now. We're going to watch that snow up there taper off a little bit, starting at the north and eventually working its way towards the south as we take a broad view of that. The same thing with the rain here in the valley. We had it all coming in here around the metro yesterday. It is dying down. We could still see a few more stray showers, but not nearly as much as what they'll see further south. So first alert weather day still today up in the Cascades, but we will watch it die down to the north, probably staying a little more steady further south. Bachelor will be getting a lot of snow down there. 28 the high at Timberline, 36 at the pass. 46 will be the high for Welch's. And then for the Portland Metro today, a lot of clouds overhead, but not a lot of rain. Just a little bit of light shower activity still possible this morning. Maybe a brief shower as we get into the evening hours, but most of the day will be without the rain. 51 the high today. Here's that 7-day forecast Owin was asking about. We do have at least some rain every day. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 50s all the way through till Saturday. So 53 for the high tomorrow and Tuesday. Showers, maybe some sun breaks. Starts off dry Wednesday. Becomes somewhat rainy as we get to Wednesday afternoon to evening, and then back to light showers on Thursday, steady, heavy rain at times on Friday, and then back to light rain showers on Saturday. Lows throughout in the mid-30s to low 40s. So I would say, if you have the cover for the boat, I would put that on there if you're going to go out there and do a little fishing.
You're well-versed in that. This is typical spring Chinook conditions. Yep. Get wet, be cold, and hopefully you get that one bite during the day. Hopefully you're going to get out and have some fun this year.
I'd love to, yeah.
Very cool. Andy, it was great to see you the last couple of days.
Good to see you, Owen.
All right, we're going to take Lonnie's call. He's from Gresham. Looks like he's looking for an update, or he has an update. We'll find out all together about the ocean salmon season. Lonnie, what's going on? By the way, that's my dad's name. I don't see a lot of Lonnies out there. Lonnie, what's your question for everyone?
Well, last week when you had Bill Monroe Jr. on there, you said there was going to be a meeting with ODFW this last Tuesday.
Yes.
I was wondering what was found out about it. Possibly, well, I know it was about the ocean salmon, but I was wondering if there was going to be an extension on the Columbia.
Well, as far as extensions go, that's all in-season stuff. So nobody will really know what that is until there's some sort of migration going over Bonneville that's going to give them, you know, a little bit of a guesstimate. I put it that way for a number of reasons. But so as far as an extension go, we're quite a ways away from that. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, though, because there's you know, just a couple of weeks left on the Columbia. Technically, it closes on the 6th of April this year below Bonneville. Now, to your first question, as far as the ocean salmon decision, I don't believe there was a final decision made Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not familiar or not certain if that was Tuesday or Wednesday. Now, Ryan is going to try to find a quick link for you that we can put up. So, Lonnie, make sure you pay attention. If that link pops up, that's what you're going to want to utilize to see what those decisions were, because I did not pay any attention to it. Oh, here we go. Public hearing on salmon management alternatives. Oregon held online on Tuesday, March 25th. March 25th. Okay, so it's definitely not been decided upon yet, but we will keep you informed of what that is, because I do know we will have Bill Monroe Jr. on this upcoming weekend for a live report from the Columbia, and we're going to get an update on that at that same time. So, Lonnie, just pay attention to what's going on this week, and we'll do the best we can to keep you informed as we go forward. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that north, and for that matter, the south of Falcon for the ocean salmon fisheries. Based on what Bill had told us this past week, north of Falcon looks pretty darn good. South of Falcon, not so much. Apparently, we're trying to protect all the California salmon. We'll see how that goes. But at the very least, all right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about, well, number one, oars, okay, right here. One of the expensive pieces of the puzzle if you're a drift boater or a rafter, and how you can protect them when they are not being used. Very important. We'll have that when we come back from this break, and a couple of viewer questions to answer as well. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.